Hey everybody, Travis here, back with another book review, my third book review, and we got a good one. It is We Who Wrestle with God by Jordan Peterson, my favorite clinical psychologist. I've been a fan of Jordan Peterson's ever since his viral interview with Kathy Newman, and this was back in 2018 when I just left college. And this book was really anticipated for me because I read Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, and then I also read his book Beyond Order, 12 More Rules for Life. And Jordan Peterson, he is so unique because he clears up all of the confusion with life's mysteries. And that's one of the reasons why I like him so much. And I've watched a lot of his videos and a lot of his lectures from when he was at the University of Toronto. And he takes all of these really important stories and even fairy tales from like Disney, and he explains to us why they're significant and why they're important. And so when he announced this past year that he was coming out with the book that would dispel some of the confusions around the biblical stories, that was really cool to me, and I couldn't wait to start reading the book. Personally, I grew up in the Catholic Church, just raised Catholic and went to a Catholic school. And so I went to church and I did that whole song and dance, but I never really fully understood the reason why we were learning about these stories, and that the Bible is just the longest book that's been in circulation, and it is for a reason. It's because all of those stories have intrinsic meanings behind them, and if we as human beings can understand those stories that have been passed down for thousands of years, that we could use the lessons from those narratives and make our lives better and make everybody else's lives better in civilization and throughout the world. So that was really a reason for me picking up the book, is because I wanted to learn some of those meanings and I wanted to hear it from Jordan Peterson's perspective. And so overall, there were some really good stories and really good explanations from Mr. Peterson. And he talked about the creation story from Genesis. He talked about the story of Cain and Abel, who were descendants of Adam and Eve. He talked about Noah's Ark and some of the meanings behind that story. He talked about the Tower of Babel and then Moses and being exiled out of Egypt. And so tons of good content, and some of Jordan Peterson's language and some of the writing was absolutely exquisite. I'm going to read to you a quote, one of my favorite quotes, and it talks about the hero's journey and him tying that back into how it relates to the Bible. We watch the hero aiming upward, living in truth, sacrificing for what is better, struggling nobly against the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, yet maintaining his integrity. We watch the objects of the world reveal themselves to him as the tools and obstacles relevant to his journey. We watch the friends he meets along the way perform the sacrifices necessary to be of aid, and are pleased to see it. We watch his foes cheat, steal, betray, lie, and fail, and we feel that justice has been served. Or we watch them succeed, and we experience the moral outrage of the deceived. That's a really beautiful quote, and the language, again, is very nicely written, and really appreciate those quotes, and really left a powerful impression on me. So the stories themselves are really good. If I had to compare this to 12 Rules for Life and Beyond Order, it's written in a different style because those books were clearly numbered and each rule was from 1 through 12. And so the book was easily separated by those 12 rules apiece from Beyond Order and 12 Rules. This book was a little different because it talked about a handful of biblical stories. I do wish that Jordan Peterson went a little deeper and talked about more biblical stories, but he did allude to that could come out in a second installment of We Who Wrestle with God. And so there is a really good chance that he puts out another book just explaining the meanings behind the biblical stories. One frustration that I had in reading this book, and again, I love Dr. Jordan Peterson. He is one of my heroes and one of the people that I look up to the most in popular culture. One frustration that I had was just the verbosity. The fact that he used a lot of big, complicated words, and that really murkied the meaning, and it confused me at times. A quote that I picked up that was just long and tough to understand is just an example. This in turn implies something even more fundamental, that meaning is not a mere epiphenomenon, a transient and mutable subjective overlay on an intrinsically senseless material substrate, but a manifestation of what is most real instinctively and actually, insofar as what is real and actual is reflected in the organization of the highest reaches of our nervous systems. And that was, I don't remember exactly what that was in regards to, but that's an example of like a really long sentence that I'm sure he could have shortened it up to make it more concise. And we know Jordan Peterson's a freaking genius, but sometimes it would help if he shortened up the sentences, made it more simple to read for us mere mortals. And if you can make these ideas really, really easy to understand and not use the big words, that would have been really, really nice. But overall, fantastic book. If you're a Jordan Peterson fan, highly recommend it. We Who Wrestle with God, right here. That's the cover. Very simple cover. And so I'd recommend it. Overall, I'd give it an 8.1 out of 10. The gap between 8.1 and 10 out of 10 stars is just that sometimes it was a little confusing because of all those words. But overall, the meaning behind like Adam and Eve and talking about the natural instinctive flaws of man and woman, talking about Noah and why he decided to heed the warnings of God and build an ark and put everybody on board. Or Cain and Abel, when I think it's Cain, right? Cain kills his brother Abel because he's jealous of all the things that Abel is able to accomplish. And then he talks about Moses and how if you want to free yourself from tyranny, you're going to have to spend time in the desert. And that's going to be very challenging and it's going to be long and arduous. But at the end of that journey, you're going to find the promised land and achieve the things that you've been after. So tons of good meaning. I do hope that he puts out another installment of We Who Wrestle with God, part 2. And if he does, I'll pick it up and I'll read it. But overall, 8.1 out of 10 stars. And yeah, that's the book review. We Who Wrestle with God by Dr. Jordan Peterson. Pick it up. All right, thanks everybody for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. I haven't said that tagline in previous videos. I'm going to start tacking that on to the end of all of the recordings. And then hopefully I come out with some more book reviews. I'm starting to enjoy this. So hopefully I see some good feedback. If not, I'm doing it for the love of the game. Absolutely love reading and learning new things. So tune in for my next book review. This was book review number 3. And I'm going to be launching book review number 4 pretty soon. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.